The Trump you see is a distorted image. How do you perceive the media's version? CNN labels him a dictator of democracy, while NYT calls him pure madness. Character assassination pour in 24/7. We Asians were taught media is always objective. We believe we were seeing the real truth. But looking at the media's bias from Korea, we must ask a very fundamental question. If he's truly mad, why did America choose him twice? Would Americans give nukes to a madman? It's not because Americans are fools. Someone is lying, and we are being deceived. We've only seen him through a fake filter. Today, we will shatter this fake media filter. We'll reveal the true voices of MAGA and the GOP. First, why did mainstream media abandon neutrality? Why risk a business suicide for a political bias? Why are they so desperate to demonize Trump? Second, how did an exiled German family rise? How did they build this power? Is it just showmanship? Third, why didn't Trump start a third party? Why a hostile M&A of the 170-year-old GOP? In 15 minutes, you will find the hidden truth. You'll face the real Trump the news hides. Why do Americans treat him like a god king? And why must we, in Korea, care about this? Because Korea and America face the same reality. First, we must address the media's demonization of Trump. The media is the fourth estate, the guardian of truth. They should be watchdogs, filtering the truth for society. This is exactly why I communicate through new media. When old media fails, enslaved by big capital and power, new media becomes the last shield for our citizens. Mainstream media even spreads wild conspiracies to degrade him. They claim he's a puppet for the deep state or Wall Street. When he moved the embassy to Jerusalem or put Kushner at the front of Middle East policy, instead of analyzing it as pragmatic diplomacy, they hide it under the frame of behind-the-scenes control. Why must global media portray him as such a madman? The answer is very practical. Because Trump is smashing their privileged power monopoly. Trump calls the Washington establishment the swamp. Inside this swamp are unelected high-level bureaucrats. They are the deep state, controlling policy for decades. Then, there's the big money from Wall Street funding them. Finally, the mainstream media legitimizes their privileges. Together, they form a massive profit community. Do you know what this system fears the most? It is unpredictability. They profit most when the world follows their manual. But businessman Trump appeared and shook their entire board. He charged head-on against frames like Russiagate. Shall I show you the evidence of the system's fear? In 2016, 97 out of 100 major media outlets backed Hillary. The media completely dropped their mask of neutrality. They became attackers to protect the establishment. It's a high-level strategy to label Trump a hater or a madman. Before his policy hits your ears, they stigmatize his mouth. Their goal is to contaminate the message itself. When Trump says, "I'll stop illegal immigration to save jobs," the media ignores the economics and screams racist rant. They hide the essence of survival and attack only his attitude. In fact, over 90% of mainstream coverage was negative early in his term. This isn't reporting, it's practically a political assassination. What they truly fear isn't Trump's rudeness, it's his message reaching the working class and dismantling the system. Now, do you see why we must know this brutal reality? Ultimately, this is a war between the media's filter and Trump's real game. Critics of Trump always make this specific claim. He is a puppet of Jewish capital. His radical pro-Israel actions throughout his term might seem like convincing evidence for this, but if you've ever run a business, you'll see it differently. With a keen eye for the game, this is a whole new story. To Trump, Jewish capital wasn't a master to serve, but strictly a tool to be utilized. He needed massive funding and intel to fight the giant media, so he played the Israel card where interests aligned. It wasn't servitude, it was a cold business partnership. Even before Jewish lobby groups, he never lost control. He boldly told them, "You support me for your own interests." Behind the conspiracy lies the calculation of a ruthless pragmatist. If Trump were truly part of the deep state, why did they try to impeach him with Russiagate fakes for 4 straight years? Why did former CIA and FBI chiefs openly attack him? If he were their puppet, the system would have shielded him. Instead, they feared his America First agenda. They feared it would dismantle the globalist order they had built for decades. Many call this a US-China hegemony war, right? But that's not the essence of it. This is actually an internal war, America versus America. It is a clash between the old global order and the new order of MAGA. In this grand design, China might just be a pawn. This is the 21st century version of the American Civil War. While the past was a war between agrarian and industrial capital, today is a systemic war of values and survival. For those prepared, this shifting landscape is a massive opportunity. Korea's technology is the only alternative to replace China in the global market. This war gifts us the timing to lead the anti-China supply chain. You won't find this analysis anywhere in the mainstream media. Through my channel, you'll see the real opportunities ahead. Remember the CIA, FBI frame. Trump is a Russian asset. It was later proven false, but top agencies tried to impeach a sitting president. They even went as far as fabricating evidence. Is this how you treat a puppet? Absolutely not. This was a desperate strike by the establishment to eliminate an internal intruder. Have dozens of former CIA and DNI chiefs ever signed a joint letter like this? Have they ever officially labeled a candidate a national security threat? Never in American history. When Trump touched the interests of the global intel and military-industrial complex, they dropped their masks and stepped into the light. Dozens of criminal indictments were poured onto a former president during an election. There were even desperate attempts to kick his name off the ballot. This is not politics. It's the establishment trying to eradicate the Trump virus by weaponizing the law in this 21st century American civil war. Why do they label him an Israeli puppet or a Russian spy? To destroy his anti-establishment image and dismantle his base through high-level psychological warfare. Do not fall for their frames. The real war begins now. The essence of Trump's America First is simple. It's a declaration to take from the elite and return wealth to the Rust Belt. While typical politicians only made empty promises, Trump took immediate action, pressuring NATO for more funding and dropping tariff bombs on China. To old diplomacy, it was madness, but to workers, it was pure practical benefit. What could be more terrifying to the establishment than this? That's why they focus on trivial things like his tie color or rough tone. They desperately hide the true national management blueprint he is drawing. To understand Trump, you must look at his German roots. His grandfather, Friedrich, came to America at 16 with nothing. He built his foundation serving miners during the gold rush. It's a relentless and thorough German business mindset. Later, his father, Fred, built wealth through middle-class housing. The core of this family is pragmatism. Building value on their own land always came before ideology. Donald Trump added powerful showmanship to this foundation. He is a top-tier businessman who survived the NYC jungle for 50 years. To him, politics is not a philosophy. It's simply the largest M&A and business deal of his life. Now you see why the media calls this precise design madness. Now, let's look at how Trump swallowed the GOP whole through the art of a hostile M&A. Many people are curious, why doesn't Trump just start his own political party? Why waste energy fighting the old-guard GOP establishment? But that's a misunderstanding of his grand strategy. This is where his genius hostile M&A strategy shines. Starting a new party is like launching a high-risk startup. How long would it take to build the infrastructure and funding? Trump saw the GOP as a blue-chip company undervalued by poor management. Instead of waiting outside, he targeted the real owners, the shareholders, voters. He simply seized the management rights. The old elites resisted, but every cell of the party became Trumpified. In the end, he took over the entire system and made it his army. The shell is the GOP, but the core is now America First. Instead of pitching a tent, he cleaned the house and became the owner. Doesn't this strategy speak volumes to us as well? How much do you know about Trump's spears and shields? First, you must watch Vice President J.D. Vance. He is far more than just a loyal subordinate. He translates Trump's raw instincts into legal logic and intellectual language. It's as if Trump's instincts were upgraded with a genius brain. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is no necktie-wearing bureaucrat. He's a decorated combat veteran who actually walked the battlefield. His mission, redesign the military into a force that only wins wars. He is the sharp blade cutting through military fat for pure combat readiness. The man China fears most, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He knows exactly where China's Achilles heel is located. Rubio designs the diplomatic noose to tighten around China's neck. Chief of Staff Susie Wiles turns chaos into cold, hard results. While enemies focus on Trump's words, she's already stamping the executive orders. Trump creates the noise, but she finishes the job. Caroline Leavitt, the 27-year-old press secretary, schools the media. She is Trump's cutting-edge weapon, shattering liberal media authority. When reporters attack, she exposes their hypocrisy and leaves them speechless. Trump made a bold move by shifting his Homeland Security leadership. He tapped Noam's bulldozer energy for the shield of the Americas. It's a grand design to build a security belt across the entire continent. Attorney General Pam Bondi is the steel shield neutralizing the legal war. Her mission is to block the lawfare aimed at Trump from its roots. When enemies use law as a cage, Bondi strikes back at their corruption. Tulsi Gabbard is the sniper aimed at the heart of the Democrats. As a former DNC vice chair, she now oversees all 18 intel agencies. She knows exactly how the liberal elites distort information. She is the ultimate spear and shield against the deep state. Look at the people actually drawing the blueprint for Trump 2.0. While the media mocked him, Trump quietly prepared these monsters. This is the mechanism of Trump's chaos negotiation. When he tweets 200% tariffs, it is not out of anger. It is a smoke screen designed to shake the opponent. Once the bomb is dropped, the media and rival negotiating teams are paralyzed. Experts stay up all night trying to interpret his true intentions. This is exactly where Trump's magic begins. While the opponent drowns in the swamp of interpretation, his team sneaks through the back door and locks in the real numbers. Just as the opponent tries to recover, Trump drops an even bigger bomb. The opponent exhausts themselves chasing Trump's phantom. Eventually, they beg for 50% just to avoid the 200%. The art of making an opponent who wanted 0% settle for 50%. This is the chaos negotiation of businessman Trump. Now, strip away the demonized frame and look at his actual deeds. Trump achieved what no one else could in 70 years. He met Kim Jong-un and laid the foundation for Middle East peace. Contrary to bias, he is a president who avoids war. He is a pragmatic pacifist who won't bleed for unprofitable wars. The reason his supporters are so passionate is clear. He's not an elite, he's the CEO who protects my job. People feel a sense of catharsis whenever he speaks bluntly. They say, finally, someone is slapping the establishment for us. Following his heritage, he is obsessed with energy independence. The Alberta incident from my last video is part of this vision. He's uniting the North American supply chain to break China's grip. It's a grand design to liberate energy from China's control. Do you still see Trump as just a foul-mouthed dictator? If so, you are trapped in a massive frame built by the media. He is not a dictator, but a cold, calculating CEO trying to stop a national decline. We must focus on his hands, not his mouth, because the global board is shifting through him and his team. If we fail to read this design, our future and assets will never be safe. In the end, those who monopolize information rule the world. About Asia Insight will continue to reveal the hidden truth behind the media's veil. What other sides of Trump did I miss in this video? I look forward to the insights of you Trump experts in the comments.